Hello everyone, Global Government News here with Darko. Today is August 13th, 2010. In this news video, I'm going to try to squeeze in war on terror, liberty, sovereignty news, along with a little bit of false flag, and finish up with some economic news. This first article up is from Press TV, and it's titled China Slams U.S. South Korea Naval Drills. And not too surprised at this. It says, a senior Chinese official has strongly condemned the second round of joint U.S.-South Korea naval exercises. That's right. The U.S. and South Korea are basically saying, come on, North Korea, do something stupid. Come on, start a fight with us. Do something like last time where they hit a mine, underwater mine, and all right off the bat they say it was a North Korean torpedo. So it's a lot of, I believe it's a little bit of false flag going on right here as well. But it says Rear Admiral Yang Yi wrote in a commentary published on Friday's edition of China Daily that the drills are a fresh provocation, quote, to China and its surrounding region. He said Washington will pay a, quote, costly price for its decision to participate in new military exercises near China. Quote, on the other hand, it wants China to play a role in the regional security issues. On the other hand, it is engaging in an increasingly tight encirclement of China and constantly challenging China's core interests, Yang said. The drills are the second U.S.-South Korea war games recently conducted close to Chinese waters. In July, the U.S. and South Korea conducted massive joint sea and air drills. Those exercises were also condemned by Beijing. Yeah, some people are talking about a new NATO for China in this area particularly. Clinton was over there trying to ruffle some feathers as well, saying we have our interest here. Right, our interest, the military-industrial complex's interest, not the actual American people's. Just want to It says China has already reduced its military cooperation with the Pentagon over the $6.4 billion U.S. arms sales to Taiwan. China, they didn't like that. China considers the island as part of its territory. Seoul says the drills come in response to the North's alleged torpedo attack on a South Korean warship in March, which claimed 46 lives. Pyongyang denies any involvement in the sinking of the warship. North Korea's military has described the war games as a direct military invasion. So a lot going on here. I believe that this sinking of this ship right here was a false flag in order to bring in the U.S. and this new NATO-style force in Southeast Asia. So I think that's what's going on. So you got this article, August 13th, 2010, how the Shinonen really sank. What do the Koreans do now? And to me, I read this article this morning, and I just thought it was not really a good article. I thought it was really just propaganda. All it did was talk about how the attack was, basically from North Korea. And it didn't mention anything about a mine. It didn't mention anything about how South Koreans themselves actually believe that it wasn't the North Koreans that struck their ship, the South Korean ship, with a torpedo. They believe that, if anything, it was a mine and it wasn't done purposefully. So, but this is Time CNN. So, this is all about problem, reaction, solution. They created a problem. They allow themselves to be attacked, or they attack themselves. We're in the reaction stage enough to where they've created a whole new exercise with the U.S. over there now, a whole fleet, a new NATO, and then so what is the solution? What do the Koreans do now? You see? So, but it really has nothing to do with the Koreas. It has to do with what are the U.S. and the Chinese going to do, because this is soft power and this is just using countries as pawns. So of course, China is going to slam the drills. Germany releases Mossad agent. Yep, more Israeli spies running around getting caught, like in Lebanon. German court has released Yuri Brodsky, an Israeli citizen suspected of being involved in the assassination of a senior Hamas leader in Dubai, on bail. Brodsky, an alleged Mossad agent, is accused of helping fake a German passport that was used by one of the members of a hit squad involving the killing of Mabu in Dubai hotel in January. And it says German prosecutors said on Friday that there was no need to keep Brodsky in detention and that he was free to travel while judicial proceedings against him continue in Germany. This would mean Brodsky is free to return to Israel as his maximum penalty would be a fine covered by the bail payment. Brodsky, an Israeli citizen, was detained in Poland for espionage in June on an arrest warrant issued by Germany. However, Poland extradited him to Germany on Thursday on charges of obtaining a passport under false pretense. Formal charges have not been filed against him yet. Says Dubai police have repeatedly said they are 99% sure that Israeli agents were involved in al-Mabou's assassination, which was carried out by a team comprised of 12 British, 6 Irish, 4 French, 3 Australian, and a German passport holder. Israel had repeatedly called on Poland to send Brodsky straight home, saying the suspect should stand before an Israeli court. And another Israeli citizen was in the news recently. He's wanted for stabbings in Michigan, Ohio, and one other state, and he was arrested at an airport while trying to fly back to Israel. So I guess he was considered a serial killer. And I'm not, bashing Israel. This isn't Bash Israel Day. This happens. This is stuff that happens to be in the news today and yesterday. But it says Israeli army more force was needed for ship raid, and if you're not aware, obviously it's not obvious to you then. But long story short, there was an aid or flotilla aid ship that was coming, mostly Turkish people, but some Iranians, and they're going to the Gaza Strip to help Palestinians because there's a blockade by Israel for the Palestinians and them, and so they're bringing them aid, and I guess the Israelis with frogmen and SWAT teams and special forces, basically like Delta Force or Marine Recon, rappelled down this aid ship, and they were fired upon, but at the same time, they were pretty intimidating when they came on that ship, and I guess the people on there, I'm not sure whether they were all aid or there was some security mixed in. I'm sure that they knew that something may have was going to happen, so they may have had some security forces on there. But for the most part, it was an aid ship. So, and the Israeli Mossad or whoever it was basically boarded the ship and started wreaking havoc. So it's kind of funny that they would say this. More force should have been used to clear a ship's deck before the deadly May raid on a pro-Palestinian flotilla, Israel's army chief said Wednesday, claiming that some of the Turkish activists on board had guns. Some of them had guns. Oh my God, they wanted to defend themselves and opened fire first, and most detailed account and the incident to date. Well, you know what, guys? I'm sorry, but if you live in somewhere like Texas, you're actually allowed to use deadly force to protect your property, which includes your body and your physical property, whatever your assets are. So, and I'm totally for that. And so I think this statement is totally ridiculous. It says Lieutenant General Gabi Ashkenazi, or almost like Ashkenazi, right? Said an Israeli commando was shot in the stomach as he rappelled down the Mavi Marmara, forcing him to return fire. A forensic examination of bullet remnants recovered did not match Israeli weapons, he said, calling it proof that the activists had guns and were prepared to use them. Yeah, look at this. And they should have done more to ensure sterile conditions on the ship's deck, indicating more force was needed to, quote, subdue pro-Palestinian activists. So I'm not going to read this anymore. Bushehr planned to come online August 21st. Iran's long-delayed first nuclear power plant in the southern city of Bushehr will come online next week. A spokesman for the Russian Atomic Agency says the fuel will be charged in the reactor on August 21st. From this moment, Bushehr will be considered a nuclear installation, AFP reported. Said this can be considered as the physical launch, he went on to say. And I think this is pretty well known. If not, this is my belief that this is why all of this stuff is going on right now with Iran and that, and the U.S. kind of, and the West and the East going at it with Iran in the middle, is because of this whole nuclear thing. And that's pretty much that Iran has, according to Press TV, Iran is one of the only countries in the Middle East really with real nuclear power. I think Turkey may have it, or Syria, but it's basically Israel. And so they believe that they want to be able to defend themselves against Israel. Check this out. Western corporations began the construction of the Bushehr facility in the 70s. However, following the 79 revolution in Iran, the Western companies reneged on their commitments and pulled out of the project due to political pressure from Washington. Iran then turned to Russia to complete the project. In 92, Tehran and Moscow signed a deal to complete the construction of the nuclear power plant. So it was initially started by the West. And then they got control of their country back, and then they left.